Thanks everybody, thank you. Welcome back to the Start Entry Show, the show where we look at the behind the scenes of music culture in Cape Town. Today our guest is an interesting role, the booker. Now we're not talking about someone who's a booking agent and works for an artist. We're talking about the role of somebody who assigns slots to DJs to play at different venues. My guest has done this for many years. Please help me welcome him, Matt Sinclair Hichens. Welcome to the Start Entry Show.
It's good to
thank
be
you so
back
much for coming.
again.
Again, yes. Is there a little deja vu happening? Because we've had an interview with you. We're going to be honest with our audience. We've interviewed you before, but we had some technical issues. So thank you so much for taking the time to do this again. I really appreciate it.
Oh, my pleasure. No, it's good to be back.
So some things have changed since we actually had that little test interview.
Mm-hmm.
At the time, you announced that you had finished working with the Yours Truly venues and were about to embark on something new. And since then, you've announced that you are working on a venue. Can you tell us about that? How's it coming along?
Yeah.
What are you trying to do with it?
Thank you, Al. So after 7 long, good years at YT, we called it a day. I did. And
your brother Josh is still
holding down the fort.
Sound. Shout out Sound.
To Josh, Sound. I had an amazing opportunity in the middle of absolute, turmoil and darkness, which is this lockdown COVID situation that we're all facing at the moment. We found an amazing building, and dreams have literally been becoming a reality as we speak. So it's a new space on Park Road.
Okay.
We're going to be opening up a sound bar as well as a small restaurant eatery. There's going to be a little mystery room gallery space.
Okay.
Which is quite exciting for a collaborative situation and many different things.
You enjoy your art as well, right? You've
For sure,
It's like a calligraphy style that you do.
There's definitely
with graffiti roots. Am I allowed to say that?
For sure. Some people be like, what do you tag? And I'm like, it's just that.
It's not me. I just
I burn my name up quick like a tie stick. As red as my eyes get, I still rocks the fly shit. That with some ultra flat black, catch a wreck in a sec. Wet paint ain't shit when I'm on the set.
And so the space is just like this amalgamation of the last, I'd say, good 15 years of my life.
You're also bringing the other records into the space, is that correct?
Yeah.
So that's a record store that.
So my other brothers, Johan and Aaron, we have the other radio. It's the other records. Collectively, we play the other DJs.
And you do events as well.
And we have the other events, which is long-time running party Swim, which is still going, which its last home was the Waiting Room.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Hopefully not for too long.
That's
a whole.
Please come back, Waiting Room. We love you.
And then so we're going to be moving the record store out of OBS into the One Park space.
Number one park.
Park. It's a good address. I'm not gonna lie.
You don't want to give us a hint of what the name's gonna be yet, is that still okay?
I think you can figure it out for yourself. But,
I do like the fact that you like you said, it's a culmination of the last few years of your life. It's all the things that you kind of love, right? Vinyl records, DJing, and an art room as well.
Art, and then if you know me really well, food. Food's a big one for me. And Mission coming together on this whole plan. I mean, she's been absolutely amazing.
Shout out to Mish, that's Matt's girlfriend
and partner.
Also a DJ as well.
Also a DJ. She's coming up heavy in the ranks.
Yeah.
And what a time to come up in COVID, which I'm really proud of her. She's really kind of put her head down and refined the skills and took the time.
Well, I look forward to this new place opening up. Talking to people, there's a lot of excitement, a lot of world to come and support. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, I can't wait. Literally can't wait to share it with everyone. So
all right, so that's the future.
That's the future.
Let's take it back in time a bit. You do bookings for events, or you did for a very long time. Tell us about how you got started in the music scene. I think you mentioned Evol when we spoke was kind of your initial involvement.
Growing up in the suburbs and being exposed to different little scenes. I think my first inkling to the scenes was you know, all the stuff that Circus Ninja was doing at the Bin, which lived in that kind of same East City precinct that was Harrington Street.
Yes.
You know, shout out to guys like...
Sort of where Lefties is now.
100%.
Yeah. I think it was Blaze was involved.
Yeah, Blaze, Warren Lewis, Senior,
right.
Justin Poulter. I remember I did my my grade 11 job shadow there.
Oh, okay.
So that kind of just got me into the thick of things, and shout out to Andrew Putter. He was my design teacher at school, and he put us on to all the dope shit when we were still like wet behind the ears, just figuring out like, you know, what's going on what, and like, you know, what can you actually fucking do.
Yeah.
So
that's
that was
great
cool.
schooling.
That was really nice. From there, I got the in with the evil crowd. So obviously, you know, dating back to David West kicking things off with the Get Nasty parties.
Funny enough, David West and I were in the same class at school, high school. Can you believe that?
But that, essentially, that's Cape Town. You know this.
That's true, though. Yeah,
Cape
everyone
Town.
kind of knows each other. Yeah.
You know, the degrees of separation are so fucking...
And they dance to stay physically fit and show their community spirit. And they danced to celebrate. And that is the dancing that we're talking about.
Yeah, so from there, I think he handed over the reins to Ben Johnson, Jared Figgins, who, you know, it was a tight little, you know, group of sound, and yeah, I was able to like it and jump on, and that was that was a great starting point.
What kind of music events were you doing? Because you have a very eclectic taste.
So in the beginning, that was the kind of like the more weird and wonderful, the more like fucking, you know, do that. So I had interesting like hard rave aliases with regards to like HTC, Higher Than Christ, and I was playing under like other little things. But then I also had a huge love for hip hop, and beats. And at the time, we also noticed there was just nothing for hip hop that we're listening to. And now if you look at a timeline scale, like where that was, it was like that 2009, 2010 era. So you're looking at like Odd Future coming onto the scene. You know, you had Earl, Haji, Damo, Tyler, obviously.
It's interesting that in my interview with Lauren Rose, which would have aired by now, that period was also pivotal for her, that Odd Future thing, because, and this is kind of how we got to know each other. You know, I'd been around the hip hop scene in terms of events for a while, but we were more like 90s heads, you know,
And listen,
Wu-Tang. Not that you guys didn't
of
dig
course,
that.
and that would like pave the way, you know, all that shit was just like, you know, monumental for like, you know, just like...
And I think a lot of the old 90s heads were kind of stuck in that and were like, oh, this new music's all trash. And then we started seeing stuff like Odd Future cropping up, and was like, oh wait, this is actually kind of fire. And I think it opened the way for kind of my generation and your generation of hip-hop to combine, which we eventually did with Button Bashes.
Exactly. And that's how Young Supreme was birthed at the same time. So Young Supreme was a hip-hop party that we felt necessary to create. And there was a whole bunch of us collectively who kind of came up with that energy, and then we started to roll with it. And we used to do them on Mondays at Evil. And then, you know, that stemmed to doing Button Bashes and the beat battles.
Just for the audience who might not know, maybe overseas people, Button Bashes is a beat battle. 4 producers get a week to flip a sample. And you started that with Luke Vermeer
and Shane Walker.
Shout out to those guys.
Shout out to Shane and Luke. And and the Akai sponsor we did have.
Oh yeah, shout out to Kai. Sumo Jack, I definitely won a few prizes from.
You picked up a couple things. I remember the first big one we did. I remember Oltak took that beat.
That was pre-uppercut, yes, before uppercut, Button Bashes together,
So we mixed and matched a whole bunch of different venues.
I think that there's video of that event, isn't there?
There's a little lo-fi situation that lives somewhere.
Well, look, it felt so nice to put equipment into the hands of artists, man.
It felt fucking like spot on, like, you know, when it comes to on brand, it felt on brand. And I was like, okay, cool, this is good. We're doing a nice thing here. We eventually ended up like doing like cash handouts, which is also, you know, shout out to Cash.
Cash rules everything.
Sure.
So now, when we're doing the Button Bashes event, yourself, Luke Vermeer, are giving half of the input. Myself and Stefan are giving half of the input in terms of lineups.
Yes.
And then you started doing the Yours Truly events. You'd worked at Yours Truly before.
Yes.
The one on Long Street.
Yes. Started at the first one on Long Street. And that was a situation of just like it was just like playlists.
Right.
And my whole thing was just like, putting on like fucking dope playlists and sometimes challenging stuff, putting people onto like, can I put a playlist on that's going to make someone order a second coffee as opposed to the coffee being that good that you're going to order another coffee.
God damn, Jimmy. This some serious gourmet shit. Me and Vincent would have been satisfied with some freeze-dried Taster's Choice, right? And he springs this serious gourmet shit on him.
Or, and it kind of started with, I remember what is my go-to? It was like when I started to fuck with all the MF Doom Special Herbs instrumentals.
Ooh, nice.
And spanning from one all the way to fucking, how many were there? Like 12?
I don't know.
Fucking 8,
Bunch,
9?
yeah.
And that was like really exciting. And then people used to be coming like, yo, like what's this? Like what's this? And
so now you've picked up 2 skills now, right? You've been doing some curation of lineups, but you've also been curating of a venue space sonically, which is perfect training for Yours Truly's next step, which is opening up Kloof Street. So what was your strategy in terms of how I want to start booking? Because it expanded pretty quickly to another one at Kloof, and then Movable Feast as well you were covering. It's a lot of ground to cover. What was your strategy going in terms of figuring out how to book different DJs for different styles? Like, what was your thought process?
It was important, to look at the space and what it meant to people in Cape Town and where it sat in the whole sphere.
Okay.
And be like, we wanted to make it a super inclusive space. We wanted people to feel welcome. People must feel safe.
Right.
And also, bottom line, it was a taste thing. I'm putting on my taste essentially.
Yeah.
As a booker, you're doing this because you are putting on a taste for a certain space.
Right.
And enjoying many tastes, it kind of floated me in different directions and different crews and different communities, and that's when it got really exciting.
So I think that's an interesting point to touch on there. Firstly, we spoke about how you have eclectic music taste. So that obviously helps you to curate many different styles, but also an important thing you said is you were connected to many different music communities. Can you talk about how you started to form those relationships? Because often we say to young artists, listen, the way to get on is to network. You've got to meet people, but some people struggle with it. What are some of the things that you felt were really helped you to do that?
I mean, first and foremost, pitching up, was a big one. Kind of looking at what exists, and we're a small little music sphere in Cape Town, it's competition and homies are going up against homies on certain nights, and Friday's mine, Saturday's yours.
We actually spoke about this with Doc Swano.
Check out that episode.
You break my record, now I break you, like I break your friend.
And that was the thing of just showing support and love, and also doing your homework. You'd be like, wow, Hobby crushed it on the Saturday, on a closer set.
So even if it's not your event, you want to be there to see who the dope artists are that are really shaking things up or doing something a bit different.
And then it also bleeds into what's happening online and in the social media world.
Okay.
I mean, I look at COVID, for example. I've been paying so much more attention to what everyone is doing on the radio side of things. I mean, there's been a great resurgence of just good underground radio, specifically in Cape Town at the moment. Shout out Never FM,
the other radio, A11 radio,
A11,
We Are Lilies. Shout out.
I mean, homies are all putting in work. And that's when it gets really exciting, because that drive is just keeping everyone on their toes, but in a good way.
I can't forget Bush Radio.
Of course,
please,
Bush,
guys.
Bush, sorry.
The Dankish. Go and play on Bush Radio, young DJs, if you want to get booked.
Yeah, exactly.
Or play on these platforms.
So, and also yeah, it's always like, it's cool to like, you know, like pledge allegiance to the crew, you know, but like fuck with other crews too, you know. There's not this like thing of
100%.
like, you know, I can't look this way, you know, like you can, and you know, it's cool to, that's where collaboration comes into play.
Okay, we're going to get into this in a bit more detail.
Okay.
We got to go pay the sponsors quickly. We'll be back with Matt Hichens just after this break. Stay with us.
It just made it look too cool.
Thanks so much. Welcome back. We're on the Staff Entry Show with Matt Hichens. We're talking about what it's like to be a booker.
It's me.
It's you. We're going to get into some of the other stuff you do a little bit more. So we said that a DJ should be out at other events. They should be networking, making use of platforms. What can they do stylistically to make themselves, or at least for you, what makes a DJ stand out for you? When you're out there doing your homework, right?
Okay, I'll be honest. Just being true to themselves musically.
Okay.
Like, and that can mean different things, you know. Just like, cool, this is you. This is what you fuck with. Then own it.
Right.
Like, really, like, you know, just deliver on what your vibe is. You know, I've seen too many acts that are like jumping on certain genres
On a
because
trend.
on a trend, and I know that's kind of like a generalizing thing to say, but I mean, I see it all the time, you know, and there's many genres already we know we can just pull out that you're like, shit, you know, like they'll be like sitting at home like, yo, I'm not getting any bookings, but maybe I need, if I play like this, like, you know, homies will fuck with me.
Right.
Yes, I know this, but I would like to know about you. What do you like to do?
Whatever you like.
What kind of music do you like?
Whatever kind of music you like.
Look, I know what I like, and I know you know what I like because you were trained to know what I like, but I would like to know what you like. For instance, do you have a favorite food?
Yes.
Good! What is your favorite food?
Whatever food you like.
So something I'm going to pick up on from what you said is a DJ being consistent within themselves, not within genres, but within styles. Now, when it comes to consistency, that's something that you've been very successful at with booking your events. I mean, how many kind of events were you doing on a weekend at your peak?
At a peak, we were looking after, I'd say 4 spaces.
Yeah.
4 spaces plus, like, say, a extra waiting room party on the same night.
Yeah. And each of those is at least 2 DJs,
2
maybe
DJs.
more.
So, you know, you're working at, like, we're booking, 20 acts a weekend.
Yeah, because also you're not just doing one night, you're doing
No, we're running the program.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
we're doing
Sunday.
like producer sessions on a Wednesday, and then it was Thursdays running like Loop Street until like 4, and then it was Friday, Saturday, and then it's like the Sunday wind down, which I know like you used to
I love the
love to
Sundays.
crush a Sunday and up yours, you know, which makes it interesting to book because if you're looking at a timeline scale, you've got all these kind of, I was like booking it on an energy level,
Okay.
you know, as well as genre. You know, we can take different kind of, you know, styles and kind of, you know, attitudes towards, you know, how to do it. But
So certain nights you would be like, this is going to be a this energy night.
yeah,
Certain venues it's going to be a that energy.
exactly.
thing.
And then also just trying to break it up not containing it by genre too much, but like breaking it up by like, you know, it was starting to be at Loop Street particularly. It was electronic house-based music on a Friday,
right?
Trap, rap, R&B situation on a Saturday.
Now, is the key to consistency finding a formula and a pattern and sticking to it, or is it more important to kind of have the pattern and break it up every now and then to keep it fresh for yourself? What is it that keeps you
I think,
sharp?
as you said on that second point, like, you know, have a formula, have a pattern, have a pool of sounds and to pull from, but also you've got to take chances to some degree. You know, you've got to be like, wow, you know, I've done my homework. This is when the homework comes into play.
Right.
You know, I've done my homework. I've listened over here. I'm like, wow, maybe I put Homie on for, maybe we needed
There's a fresh young producer that I saw.
Exactly. And you know, and then also pairing it up, like mixing up the pairings.
Oh,
which
I
also
love doing
found,
that.
which is like, you know, like come with that tasting menu where it's just a bit of this and a bit of that. And it's like, you know, which makes it really exciting. And people kind of start to trust the venue. They trust that, you know, fuck, I don't actually know what's going to be played today, but I've got a good feeling from past experiences that it's going to be good.
Okay, what about in terms of maintaining consistency, your health, your mental well-being, your personal relationships? What are some of the tips that we can maybe give the young guys out there who are looking to do what you've done?
Don't drink. Listen, I know, like, everyone drinks, everyone parties.
Deja vu. Yes, everyone. Yeah.
You know, I think it's just
not everyone, but
it's
yeah.
just a kind of a knowing. It's like just a basic knowing of self and just knowing your limits and
Right.
you know, and just keeping healthy to a degree. You know, making sure you're fucking eating throughout the day, making sure you're hydrated.
Is it important, or does it help you that your partner is into music as well, or is it, you know, do you like the fact that you guys can do things away from music to kind of give you a break, or is it
well,
both?
we can do a bit of both. We can do a bit of both,
Right.
which is amazing. Shout out to Mish again. Yeah, no, it's like it's extremely powerful when you can, you know, it's just a share connection and a love for all these, like, you know, like big things.
Things that are important.
Things that are important in our
lives.
lives, for sure.
All right.
When it comes like food, music, you know, all these, like, and it doesn't stop.
And now sharing those things, going into a business together. It's amazing.
It's really amazing, and yeah, it's very exciting. Lots of hard work for sure, but it's just having that open-ended conversation, that transparency, and
Right.
that communication. You know, anything is possible.
Okay.
So yeah, it's exciting.
All right. Speaking of going into business, we're going to go into some business with our sponsors. Matt, man, this is going really quickly, but please hang with us. Guys, don't go anywhere. The audience at home, stay tuned. Go like and subscribe, by the way. Check that out. We'll be back after this break.
Hi, this is Rick Dalton, better known as Bounty Hunter Jake Cahill, speaking on behalf of Red Apple Cigarettes. Now, I smoke Red Apples, been smoking them for years, but since the Red Apple Tobacco Company's been around since 1862, you'll see Jake Cahill smoke Red Apple too. Now, back in Jake's day, Red Apple came in a pouch and he had to roll his own. But today, Red Apple comes factory rolled for the best drag, with the best tobacco flavor, with less burn on your throat than any other non-filter cigarette. Now that's the way a cigarette should taste. Better drag, more flavor, less throat burn. That's the Red Apple way. So look for this life-size standee of me, Jake Cahill, wherever fine Red Apple tobacco products are sold. Take a bite and feel all right. Take a bite of a Red Apple. Tell him Jake sent you. And cut. All right, this cigarette tastes like fucking Shit. And by the way, who chose this photo, all right? I have a double chin, all right? Nobody notices that crap?
Guys, welcome back to the final section of this staff entrance show with Matt Hichens, talking about what it's like to be a booker in Cape Town. I want to touch on some of your other interests a little bit. You're really into your kicks. What are we rocking today? What's happening here?
Oh,
what
these
have we got?
Are some dead stock ACGs.
Oof! Ooh,
hey.
Damn!
With the pants. Carhartt Web hoodie. Just some basic staples.
Yeah. You know, everyone needs the bare necessities.
Sure.
But this is an interesting thing to touch on, the connection between fashion and music. Is that, I mean, I know fashion is important to you, but does it have anything specifically to do with music, or is it just a general kind of street culture feel for you?
I think it's definitely a general street culture kind of just a vibe.
Yeah.
And, you know, just all the elements kind of melting into a situation. Yeah.
You also, you make a point of finding like quite unique pieces. What is your, without giving away your secrets, what kind of strategy should people be implementing here? Is it secondhand? Is it online? Is it connects that you can't tell us about?
Again, a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I think that's what it gets exciting when you're like, okay, cool. You know, have your identity, but also don't be shy to fucking mix it up and like, you know, just come up with a whole different drip that like, you know, no one's used to.
Okay.
Or used to seeing you in, you know.
Right.
I think for me, just like being like, especially with like when it was like yours truly, it was like these 12-hour long Cape Town shifts, and the fucking weather would be doing this and that. So you know,
oh God, the weather.
I found myself in a kind of like a technical gear realm of just, you know, many Gore-Tex pieces and
okay, because you want to be comfortable and you want to be weather variable.
Weather variable for sure.
That's a tongue twister. But actually, no, that's an important tip for people who are doing events in Cape Town. Weather's going to play a factor, and you don't want to be cold if you have to be there all day, or too hot.
Or too hot, and just like all these like little spin-offs. You know, fuck, I have had to do that situation where you fucking, you know, Uber home for outfit change because just what it is, you know, like cool, we venue change, or like, you know, just like just give yourself options. But with regards to like sourcing and stuff, I mean, shout out to the Shelf Life homies, always.
Hey, shout out Shelf Life.
Doing the most.
Been around for ages, just holding Cape Town down.
Exactly, and just holding down really good accounts.
I got these there. I mean, you can't see them, but just little basic Air Maxes.
And then just for like other homies, just, you know, putting out like support also people doing, you know, putting out local content and releases.
100%. Shout out Bhutan.
I just bought an amazing
Leaf, all the guys.
Branasonic. Francesco from
Francesco.
He'd been fucking doing some really cool stuff. So he did like this limited tea run. Actually, I met him at Joburg and I picked up there and I was just like, yes.
So this is going to be an interesting transition, right? A lot of times the local fashion scene is kind of interest to artists that are touring here. And you've dealt with artists that are touring here. What is the preparation like? How is it different to kind of dealing with your regular artists when you've got you've had Giles Peterson, you know, you've had Hooligan, the Selection Cats. I don't know. There's some many other names.
Techie Latex was another.
Techie
Latex was another one. I think everyone's got their own kind of preferences to what the experience needs to be. You know, I remember Techie coming out the gates and he was just like, "I like my food. And I'm serious about good food and cuisine." I was like, "Cool, dog, me too."
Right.
You know, straight out the gates, we went out for fish tacos straight from the airport
at Taqueria.
At Taqueria.
Nice.
And then the next day it was like full many lobsters and langoustines and prawns at fucking Harbour House.
Okay.
Just because he wanted to go see the seals in, was it Cork Bay?
Hart Bay. Yeah.
But that area. So yeah, and then some of the homies like really into digging. You know, like they want to be like, cool, I want to find everything that I can't touch or I can't really, you know, get back home.
So they go to the Marble Vinyl private stock.
So you get the private stock marble visits, or you know, or it's just like, you know, other dead stockers laying in homies' lounges. They're like, cool, now I'll happily, you know, leave with a couple of these pieces. Yeah.
And have your experiences been mostly positive in dealing with people on that kind of platform, that caliber?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Especially like, yeah, if you like when you're looking at people that you're trying to bring down, artists, acts, groups, you know, I think already you're going on that pretense that there are, you know, good people, you know, people do business with people.
I try and check out their Instagrams. I have a
Yeah,
look and
you
like
can
just
you can get a good feel of
get a
like,
sus.
you know, are we gonna align over here, or like they could be clashing, you know.
You know,
like
I don't want to
yeah.
be in a strip club with you at 4 a.m.
You know,
I'm sorry,
it's just like not my energy.
me.
But also, you know, if that happens to be the case, you know,
We can find you a homie.
We can find you a homie who can look after you and your needs.
I don't want to name that no homie, but there's a homie that'll take
There's always a homie. Yeah, so.
Frank!
Hey, honey! Hey!
What the hell are you doing?
We're streaking! We're going up through the quad to the gymnasium!
Who's streaking?
There's more coming!
Frank, get in the car.
Everybody's doing it!
Now!
Okay.
I guess it's also, yeah, just have, it's like those conversations and being transparent and be like, yo, what do you want to, what do you feel like eating? Do you want to, you know, try something really local and like down to earth? Are you looking at some like heavy tasting menu?
I think also something
like,
different about the way that both of us have had to deal with internationals is that they haven't been kind of huge events. They've been very intimate, where the people are engaging, or there's the opportunity to engage with their fans directly.
Yes.
Have there been any difficulties that you've picked up in that dynamic? Like, there's not really a VIP when you're playing YT Kloof. Right?
Exactly, and that's an interesting one. And I've seen homies get very humbled when they're like, "Well, what's happening over here?" And I'm like, "Well, this is what we have here, and this is the energy, and this is the situation. This is us."
Yeah.
And yeah, I've had some individuals have to digest that, but they also know, you know, where we're coming from and, you know, what the goals and aims are. So they're like, okay, cool. Actually, no, I fuck with this.
I find that like 90% of the time, they're cool with it because it reminds them of their early days when they were doing it for love.
Definitely. And I know shit runs away from, you know, some individuals, and like, you know, that is just, you know, the music scene.
What it is.
But fuck, yeah. It's actually nice to rein it in sometimes and just remind them of like, yeah, listen, we are doing this just, you know, for just the goodness of fucking good music and good vibe.
The last, I think, question I want to get, it's kind of a double question, and it's about the state of Cape Town. So it's a two-part question. One is like, a lot of people have been saying we're kind of losing our edge. There's not so much free thinking in terms of what our music scene is producing. And the other half of that question is around having a venue with a music policy and wanting to push maybe more experimental sounds, but the venue itself, just by the nature of people coming, changes, right?
Yes.
And you have to adapt with it as a booker. Can you talk a bit about if that matches up with your experiences?
Yeah, you know, Cape Town...
I mean, I've had it from my side as well.
Cape Town's always going to be split in many ways. It's got such a mixed identity. So many people find it kind of hard to really identify. There are definitely pockets of vibe and situation that people are like, okay, cool.
This is my little lane.
This is my lane. These are my people. These are the communities I fuck with. I feel safe here. This is what I want to do. These people I want to work with. I definitely feel that there is a very exciting shit happening right now in Cape Town with regards to all genres.
Right. We were talking about the online stuff that you've been seeing. Yeah.
Definitely. But it also stems from venues and, you know, what kind of spaces are created for artists to come and flex in. You know,
Right.
who's holding room for
the weirdos.
For the weirdos, you know, like who's holding room for, you know, the other that essentially, you know, sits on the outskirts. You know, if you're looking at this full spectrum, like music scene, you know, there's obviously the shit that works and there's the shit that people like, you know, feel like cool. how we're making money at the bar. This is how we fucking doing it. And like, there's this recipe that they've discovered, and they think this is the way.
This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
But, you know, we also need to start taking risks and, you know, have spaces with, you know, that can look after sounds and grow that, and grow producers and grow careers. And yeah,
I think let's shout out those, you know, to those venues that have been doing that for a long time. You know, personally, I want to shout out Waiting Room. Yours truly has done an amazing job in terms of giving a space for new sounds. So thank you for that.
Sure.
Thank you, Josh, for booking those kind of artists.
There's many different like little pockets in the.
These are just the ones that spring to my mind.
In our little Cape Town. But also, we're not a big city in the grander scheme of things.
Yeah.
So, you know, we do need to kind of, I feel like, I mean, next step for us is to kind of take that to the next level. But yeah.
Well, we look forward to seeing what you're going to be doing with your new space.
Thank you,
you said probably sometime in 2020, early 2021?
Early 2021.
Okay.
We haven't put a date on it yet. There's a couple little things to iron out just to make it sure everything's perfect. But yeah.
Well, I'll be looking forward to that. I'll be paying close attention to the social medias.
Thank you.
I'm very excited. Thank you so much, Matt,
Thanks
for joining us
having
on the
me.
Staff Entrance Show.
Shout out to
Thank
Sumo,
you to our
Dylan.
Sumo, Dylan, Marvin, our studio audience. Thank you so much. You've been amazing. The audience back home, watching online, like and subscribe, and please join us again on the Staff Entrance Show.